The attack on Pearl Harbor was a historic event in American history that occurred on December 7, 1941. Pearl Harbor was a naval base stationed in Oahu, Hawaii, where many naval ships from across the country went to dock. Some of the largest aircraft carriers and battleships were docked at Pearl Harbor, from New York to Florida and even Chicago. As World War II progressed, America's involvement was bound to happen when Japan began to invade eastern countries. They also collected some resources such as oil, coal, rubber, and iron, which led to direct confrontation with Western countries. Before America decided on what to do, a new Prime Minister, Admiral Isoroku Yamato, rose in Japan and was a strategist. He decided to devise an extremely risky plan to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet in a single massive strike, and then hope the Americans would sue for a quick peace that would give Japan a free hand to dominate a new so-called Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere. In this scenario, China, Burma, Malaya, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and other Pacific Southeast Asian nations would become Japanese colonies. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, which consisted of two waves. The first wave occurred on 7:48 a.m. Hawaiian time, which consisted of about 200 aircraft, including torpedo planes, bombers, and fighters. The first 30 minutes inflicted the most damage, and the second wave began at 8:55 a.m., and a third wave to destroy the harbor's oil storage, tanks, submarines, and maintenance facilities, finishing off Pearl Harbor. Over 2,500 military personnel and civilians died trying to defend the base, and around 1,500 were wounded, while the Japanese lost fewer than 100 men. The next day, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president at the time, gave a speech addressing Congress, saying, "Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounded determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph. So help us God." On Sunday, December 7th, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire. The problem with declaring war on Japan was that it was a part of the Axis powers, which consisted of Germany and Italy. 3 days after declaring war on Japan, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, so the U.S. allied with Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. The U.S. became a part of World War II, and the American people decided to go join the war.
December 7th, 1941, the U.S. fleet was anchored at Pearl Harbor, an actual harbor in Hawaii, and servicemen in the Navy were shook out of their sleep by actually being bombed by a surprise attack by the Japanese fleet. The United States had been helping Great Britain, and that was certainly having a detrimental effect to Japan, who was aided in their imperialistic desires. The effect of it was not at all what they had hoped. I know that Japan had hoped that the United States would then remove themselves from the war effort after seeing the devastation that Japan's Air Force could wield, but that was opposite result. The United States then had tremendous investment at every level to enter the war.